Okay, you guys, welcome to another day of art camp. I'm so excited. We're going to make these really fun tropical fish. We get to paint these, and it's going to be a glow day. You guys are going to love it. But we get to paint these with glow watercolors. How cool is that? Okay. So first, we're going to draw it. Everybody gets to draw their own with their own details. Then we're going to trace it in Sharpie and add our name. And then the final step will be to paint it. Okay, so we got to get going. Now, when I think of a tropical fish, some tropical fish actually do glow. Sorry. But when I think of a tropical fish, a lot of them have like a wider end to their body like this. Like some fish kind of taper back around, but a tropical fish has a wider body with a more kind of pointed nose area, okay? So that's why we're doing it this way. And I'm gonna show you how to draw it, and then we're gonna trace it in Sharpie, but if you have other details or other ways you wanna draw stuff, you are welcome to do it, okay? So first thing first, here's our body. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna divide the head kind of area from the body area. And then you can give it an eye, whatever kind of eye you want. If you want a little closed eye, you can do that. If you want a cartoon eye, like I did. If you want like any kind of eye you want, really, truly. So I'm gonna do another little like cartoon eye, like this. A little dot in the middle. If you wanna give it eyelashes, you can do that, okay? And for the mouth, on this one, I did a little divot back in. You can even still see my pencil line right there a little bit, okay, where this would be. And we would erase that later. So that would be like a little triangle kind of back like this, okay? Or you could give it fishy lips if you want to. Fishy lips are just like an unfinished heart on the end. So those would be two good ideas for your fish. I'm gonna leave it like this since I drew that pretty heavy. And that way I'll have two different examples, okay? Fish need a little swimmy hand or a swimmy fin, right? So I'm gonna draw mine like this, where I draw kind of like a rainbow line right here. And then right here, I'm gonna bring this one kind of down and make it wiggle. You do not have to draw yours like that, okay? You can draw a different kind of fin. It could just be a loop. It doesn't have to be fancy, but it does need a fin to swim with, okay? In the example that I found on the Pinterest, they had filled this whole section with scales. But instead, because I don't want to have to sit here and draw every little scale, what I did was I drew the indication of scales. So I just drew like little patches, like 3, and then maybe like 2, maybe 2 here, and just 1 here. Okay? So there's our little tropical fish body. All right, I'm gonna do this top fin, kind of like how I did this fin. I'm gonna start it right here above the eye and bring it up until I get kind of close to the end right here. And then I just did like a little wave right here. And that's how I did the bottom fin too. I did one of these, and then I just did kind of a little wave right here. And they're different. This one's wider than this one, and this one's wider than this one. Everybody's will be different, and every time I draw it, it's different, okay? And we'll come back in and add patterns if you want to, all right? And then for the tail fin, I did 2 kind of lines out like this. And then I did kind of a wavy line in between. Does not have to be perfect, because as a fish moves, everything bends and flows, right? So it wouldn't be perfect. Now what I did was I came back in and I added some little stripes like this. I didn't want to do too many because I don't want to spend all day. Remember, we have to paint these with glow paint. I don't want to spend all day tracing details, but I did do a few. Another thing you could do is something cute, like you could add hearts to a section, okay? Or you can be creative and do that kind of stuff. I just kept mine simple. All right, up here I put some bubbles. You do not have to do that. You could put something else in this section, like maybe some different animals, like maybe you want a jellyfish or something in your picture. We have some helpers, and all of our helpers are also really good at art and could probably help you figure out how to draw like other animals and stuff. But I'm gonna keep mine real simple. Okay, now down here at the bottom, I did seaweed, I did some little rocks, and then I also did some coral reef. All right, now you do not have to do all those things. If you just wanted to do like seaweed here and seaweed here, that would be fine. Okay. But I am going to show you how to draw some coral reef. Coral reef is pretty easy. It's just like a blob, like this, and it doesn't matter how it looks. I did one here, and then I did one kind of coming out of the side over here. Okay, there's my two coral reef. Coral reef has kind of texture to it too. You could do, on this one I did little circles, or you could do like some little bumps like this. I wouldn't, again, fill it with bumps because you're gonna have to trace it all. So just a few little bumps would be fine, or some little circles for the texture. Texture is important on coral reef, okay? And then what I would do is come through, and you can even overlap. I'm gonna do some seaweed that kind of starts behind that coral reef and then comes in front of it. So I'm gonna do a patch of seaweed here. And then maybe like a patch of seaweed here, some overlapping. Okay. And then I'm just gonna do some lines like this for like rocks and other things. All right, and that is all I'm going to do, because again, I'm going to trace everything in Sharpie, write my name in the corner, and then we're going to paint it. So your next step after you get all your details is to take your Sharpie and trace, and let's go ahead and all, as soon as we get our Sharpie, write our name down here in the corner so we know whose is whose, okay? And then we'll come back and talk about painting in just a second. Okay, so we're done tracing in Sharpie. I ended up deciding for video and time's sake, I was gonna trace this one later, and I'll go ahead and paint this one because it's already traced, okay? So we're gonna turn the lights off. The lights will be off, but you should be able to see your lines because they are in Sharpie, okay? And then we have these really cool neon watercolors. So these work just like regular watercolors, but they're cooler. So you have to get your paintbrush wet, and then you have to get the little cake wet, and then you can paint with it. Now, if I turn the lights off, it's definitely not going to show up glowing in the video. So I'm just showing you how to use these, and then we'll turn the lights off and you'll get to use them on your own, okay? So it's just like watercolors, and we do have watercolor paper. That's what you're painting on, so it'll work really well on this paper, okay? But you do have to use plenty of water. They are meant to be light, all right? So we're gonna use plenty of water, and we're gonna fill in our sections. Now I am doing my background blue right now, okay? But you don't have to do your background blue. You can make it pink or yellow or whatever you want. Blue just makes sense to me. Blue is also the color that glows the least. If you wanted a purpley color, you could mix, because there's no purple. That's the main color that's missing. There's a red, a pink, an orange, yellow, and a green. Those should glow pretty good. But let's say I wanted a purpley color. What I could do is I could use the blue and the pink. So what I would do is I would put down a really light layer of this blue. Just really light, okay? I'm not even getting more paint on my brush. Well, I do need a little bit more paint on my brush. And I'm just running it with this water, making sure this water gets it all spread out, okay? Then I'm gonna take the pink. I'm gonna add it. So it's not quite purple, and it's not quite pink, and it's not quite blue, but it would be as close to purple as you're gonna get with these colors. Okay, so it'd be a different color than just the pink. So let's say, you gotta blend it in really nice, and look, it's kind of purpley. So now let's say I wanna use the pink for this part. You see how bright the pink is compared to that purple? So that does look more purple once you get another color next to it. Okay, so now you're just gonna paint it. You get to just paint it We're gonna turn the lights off. Everything's gonna glow. I hope you guys wore some glow clothes, but if not, you might be surprised. There are a lot of things that glow that you don't expect, okay? And you get to paint. When you're done, be sure to get your picture. And then we're gonna put these in the drying rack like yesterday. And then we have some glow crayons that you can use on white paper or coloring sheets, okay? All right, can't wait to see how these turn out. You guys are gonna have so much fun.